B-Bad and Brandon.
It's good.
Right. Sick.
I lost all those words after camera.
It's good.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're aesthetic cameras. They're
Yep.
reasonably on the cheaper side. They're light. So like if you got it in the gym with a shorter lens on it, like you don't, you're pretty inconspicuous. You're not going to make heaps of people uncomfortable.
Yep.
But we're in the day and age where like if your content doesn't even look good enough, Instagram won't even let you do like ads and boost it and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yep.
It's legitimately you stole the right word. It's ridiculous now. Like the fact that you won't get traction on Instagram or Facebook just because it doesn't look like it will. It's like, man, there's so much good content going wasted.
Yeah. But even like trying to share client footage, like I use WhatsApp because I find it doesn't compress it too much, but you can't even share client footage in good quality anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's how it goes.
It's absolutely stupid, but that's
the machine. It's where it is.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
Eventually, we'll all be in VR goggles, just sitting at home, getting real fat and coaching.
Bro, I do that now. What are you talking about? Like, I don't. Like, this last year, I've transitioned mostly to online, and I swear I've put on like 20% body fat. Obviously, for those listening, that's an extreme exaggeration.
But I think it'd be good because when you have your VR goggles, you'll have your skin of your avatar that you'll be. You'd be just jacked as fuck in that avatar.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. I could run with that.
Yeah. I've seen the future.
No.
That's what's happening. Mate, I think we probably should be a little bit formal with the only part of formality that happens with this show here. Mr. Luke, we give you the opportunity we ask you one question. You have only 21 words and sounds to give the answer. The question is who you are and what do you do, sir?
Oh, all right. Cool. I'm Luke Shakespeare. I am a powerlifting coach. I used to be a powerlifter. Like, do you want more, describing me as a person as a whole?
That's
or like
pretty
what
good.
I do? Like that's like.
Oh no, we just hit the limit.
Look, that was still a really good one, bro. The funniest one, if you ever want to have a good laugh, is go back to I think it was episode 2 or 3 with Luke Poley and just watch his face go red with anxiety. It was great.
I'm
Just
Luke
streamlining
Polly.
and making things simpler is like stressful.
Yeah.
Like you can't describe all the minutiae of who you are. It's just one blanket answer. That's hard.
Especially I remember for Polly being fucking obviously engineer by trade, but we're not here to talk about him. Man, you've said a couple of things there that I'm quite interested in. First and foremost, you say former powerlifter, so you're not competing at all or have no plans to?
Well, like, what is a powerlifter? Is a powerlifter someone that competes, or is it someone who just trains squat, bench, deadlift? Like, you see a lot of people say you're not a powerlifter if you don't compete, if you don't plan to compete. Like, I've got plans to do some bench only, maybe end of next year, if I can. But, I mean, is bench only powerlifting? Like, it's part of it, but it's
true.
It is what it is. Like I still, I've just started training again. So, squatting, deadlifting, some raw bench pressing. But I'm at a point now where like, I'm sure this would be like, if we did this in like 2-3 months and I've got some like routine and some consistency back under my belt, I'm sure the answer will be different. But at the minute, I'm just finding it more rewarding to just focus on my coaching. Because to do coaching well, like it's such a commitment. Like take yourself, for example, Brandon, like when I came up to Brisbane, end of 2019, it was like, there was a handful of people still getting coached by Scott, a few people still getting coached by Matt, who owns the gym. Matt?
Yep.
Yeah. And then it was just you, right? And like, everyone who follows you knows that you still have online clients, but like my ultimate would be maybe like 50% that I can still see face to face in the gym, even if it's not like coached sessions, just being able to see them. that just streamlines my
Yeah.
process so much more. You know, when it's online, like I showed one of my clients just my like I use WhatsApp for all my client communication, and I showed them my
Yep.
WhatsApp. I did all my check-ins probably 6 hours beforehand, and I had like 120 notifications, and I showed him, and he's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" I was like, "That's what online is." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you can cap it and say, only send me 2 videos a week of these exercises, or only send me 10, or, try and limit it to once a week. Like I tried doing it once a week, but you still end up dealing with the same workload, but it's just on one day a week, which is for me so much
Mm.
worse. Like I'd rather I've got my routine
Yeah.
where
100%.
most mornings I'll get on 90 minutes worth of check-ins, stop, do something else, like do some programming, and then in the evening I'll come back to it and just do another hour. And for the most part, everyone gets, 2 responses a day if they message me. I'm still very grateful for those clients who like are bad clients and that they send like 1 video a week, or they'll send like 2 videos a week,
Mm.
or they'll send footage once a month. And it's like, okay, cool. Like that's not going to help you. You can get so much more value for your money, but having to reply to so many, like having to reply less to people like that is so much easier. Like, streamlines my week so much more.
Oh, bro, it's 100%, and I'm of the same opinion. Like I use WhatsApp religiously for my online guys because it. I mean, as you said, the quality issues still arise, but it is a much better platform. But if you were trying to fit all your online clients in one day, like there goes your whole day, and then you're going to be staring at a screen and be unproductive for the next 4 days. But having a set routine where it's like, all right, people from A to C go Mondays and then Tuesdays this, but being an online coach now, it is fucking competitive and it's fucking hard to deliver a service which you know is so much better in person.
Yeah, exactly. You like nail on the head right there. I mean, in person, you don't need one-to-one time. Like as powerlifters, we maybe at the start when
Mm.
you really try, like let's just say you onboard someone, you want to change 5 different things about how they're lifting. Okay, cool. One-on-ones are good, but just seeing people in the gym, like we don't. If you're a good coach, you don't need a lot of cues, and the cues that you do need shouldn't be a paragraph
Mm.
long. You know what I mean? I've got my lifters, and I know what I need to cue and when I need to cue it, and like I can yell that across the gym while I'm working with someone else, and they lift better. You know what I mean? But online is one of those things where you just have to hammer people with the simple cues. That repetition.
Mm.
Yeah.
100%, and that's the biggest thing. I think you hit the nail on the head there with what you said. Is that repetition is not found in online coaching because you do find yourself repeating the same things, which could take maybe one session for a person face to face because you've said it 5 times in their face to face, not their one contact session per week or something. Like
Yeah.
it's a necessary evil in the business we are, I think. And I like what you said before that you have your cues, and I think it comes back down to, and Johnny, have the same opinion. It's like if you're a coach in the industry and you don't know what your ideology is or you don't have a coaching methodology, like that's not going to show. So every time you have a client, it's going to be a different cue. But if you have your set standards, you know
Mm.
exactly what you're going to be said or what's going to be said next.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I think those
Mm.
standards change over the years. You make sure you're always keeping up to date with everything and keep moving along, and then you should find it a lot easier to get everyone. But that online world's it's a crazy beast of a
It's
machine now,
different.
isn't
It's
it?
so different, especially thanks to our friend COVID over there. But it is what it is, and we've all had to adapt. And yeah, I think Johnny as well. Like you got to evolve with it. If you're not upskilling yourself as a coach, you're done.
Yeah. I mean, I ran a FaceTime session before I did this. I still got a guy down in Kingscliff who ended up moving there through COVID, and he's like, "Man, I'll keep training. This FaceTime thing's great." So he trains twice a week. We FaceTime. I just don't take him to the edge so the barbell lands on his head. But yeah, we train a couple of
That is
hours a week.
crazy.
It's
It's like
unreal.
that was just never heard of 2, 3
Yeah.
years ago.
No, I can't even imagine. I can't, mate. I still remember when I first started doing this game. There wasn't even fucking iPhones around. So the concept of video calling someone and training them from another city was fucking. That's if you told me that 13 years ago, you'd be
Fuck,
like, "What the
you're
fuck?
old,
You're an
dude.
idiot."
Bloody hell. But man, obviously you've been a lot of your content online at the moment. It is fucking really good. Like, I think in the
Thanks,
last,
man.
we were talking about this the other
Mm.
day, Johnny and I, like, the content you're putting out there right now, it's just delivered in the most simple but brilliant way.
Oh,
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. By far one of my favourite coaches to
thanks,
watch
man.
on online.
I mean, I feel like coaches. There are heaps of memes about this. You know what I mean? It's like a bell curve, and it says, if you just started training, you're here, and then
Mm.
like I saw one the other day, and it said, like technique is everything, and then another one is something like you have to feel the muscles, and then technique is everything, and then back on the other side, someone who's like real wise is like, technique is everything again. You know what I mean? And I feel like when I first started, it was my I didn't know a lot. You know what I mean? Like I thought I knew a lot. I did like some Polycon courses,
Mm.
which I don't know if you've met anyone that comes out of Polycon course, but as soon as they're done, they think they're the bee's knees of fucking coaching, right? So I did that, but a lot of my content then was very
Mm.
simple, and then fast forward like 2015, 2016, 2017, I was upskilling. That I feel like that's when the boom of like online coaches actually putting out informative content came out. And so then around that time, I started trying to be a lot more specific. I tried to word things a certain way. I tried to I didn't do that as like a flex. Like you see some people, and you can tell they just use big words to try and they just want to seem a certain way, and it's like, dude, that's not helpful. You know what I mean? But I wasn't intentionally doing that. I was
Mm.
just trying to describe specific things with my content. But now I'm just like, well, I think it's just easier to be as simple as possible. Like you've come full circle, and you just
Mm.
realize that if you
Mm.
can say the least amount of shit and get the most amount done, the better. Especially with online. Like face to face, I can call out 4 different cues. If someone say someone's doing a set of 5, I can cue one thing on their unwrap. I can cue another thing for the descent of their first rep, and then I can cue something else towards the end of their set once they've found their groove. But online, if you give them 5 cues, you'll get none. So online, I find like I just need to give
Mm.
the one. And then
Sure.
once I've got that, I'll go, okay, refine that, do that again for a week, even if it's not perfect. And then once they've got that moving pattern, that one cue, move on to something
Mm.
else. You know what I mean? But yeah, with content, like I used to,
Mm.
I came from doing like, I'd post all my training lifts, and coming into a meet, you get that cloud. You know what I mean? Like the algorithm just senses that you're fucking peaking, and they go, yeah, cool. Let's give this dude heaps of likes, heaps of follows, heaps of saves, whatever. But since I've fallen off of that, and I've not
Instagram
been
knows.
competing,
Mm.
yeah, since I've fallen away from that, I'm like, well, all right, I'll start doing more text-based posts. And now, sometimes I'll get a client lifting over 300, and that'll get decent interaction. But all my text posts are where people actually, I feel like people
Yep.
value that so much more. You know what I mean? Like I still want to showcase what my lifters are doing, but those text-based cues, people save, and they, if there's one simple cue in there that works for them, done. You know what I mean? Like instantly they'll follow, and they'll come back for more.
100%. And I think it's like those text-based cues that text-based posts that you are doing. Like, I love reading them personally, but it's crazy to think. Like, I know I've done a few myself recently, and I'm like, people are saving these like left, right, and center. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Mm.
this seems so simple, and I think we take as coaches, because we do know quite a bit, we often take that for granted, and then, as you said, come full circle, realize actually the simplest shit just works.
Yeah, and I mean, I was actually talking to. So you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with like the whole inhalation, exhalation, compression, expansion based model that Pat Davidson and that
Yep.
mob kind of push, right? I was talking
Mm.
to Shero from Burley Strength
Yeah.
about that, because I forgot which one that he did, but he did one of the courses relating to that, and I was like, how'd you find it? And he said that he's really glad he did it at the time that he did it, meaning like having like this big background information to then take on all this, more. I don't want to say it's more complex, but it's definitely it's a specific system, right? But having that
Mm.
stuff to relate the things back to, you know what I mean? Like simple things still
Mm.
require a decent background of understanding. You know what I mean? And I think you see that with coaches, the ones that are
Yeah.
trying to word shit super complicated. I'm not saying they're bad coaches by any means, but the ones who have like done all like the extra research, done all the upskilling, and then they can find a way to make that as condensed as possible. I think clients will benefit the most from that.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think it also comes back to
Yeah, 100%. Our clients' jobs
Yeah.
isn't meant to be
But I think
coaches.
to talk in the most simplistic terms, you need to understand the process in the deepest terms.
Yeah,
You need to
yeah,
understand it and practice it before you can even try and simplify it.
yeah, 100%. Like understanding something fully helps you be able to paint like
Mm.
just a broad picture. You know what I mean? Like if you take a big picture of a city
Yeah,
taken on a shitty
100%.
camera, it's still going to look cool. Especially like take like a sunrise in a city, right? You take a photo of it, looks cool. Even on a shitty camera,
Mm.
it's a nice subject. It looks cool. But
Mm.
then you get a camera that's fucking $15,000. You take that same photo, you can zoom in 400%, and you can see everything. But you don't appreciate it like that. You
Mm.
appreciate it when you step back and look at the thing as
Mm.
a whole. You know what I mean? I think coaching is very similar. Like you look at the ones that are doing the best in the industry, right? The product that they sell to
Mm.
us is reasonably simple, right? Like nothing that they say is
Mm.
groundbreaking, right? Like I'm going to reference Bass for like Sebastian Oro, for example, right?
Mm.
I look at the majority of his content, and obviously I'm not going to find it
Mm.
earth shattering because I did like a 2 year, 18 month, whatever 2 year internship under him, so I knew all that stuff from working with him. But even beyond that, I think to most of us, we don't see his content and go, wow, the detail is phenomenal, or wow, the anatomical references are amazing.
Mm.
But he does the best because it's simple. People can see it, and it's
Mm.
for industry
Mm.
professionals, it's smart enough that they'll learn something a little bit more specific. But for just, you take someone who's a fucking accountant, they can take that
Mm.
and they can just run with it because it is so streamlined, so simple. You know what I mean? Even like Thomas Lilly, for example, like he's
Yeah.
like I see
Mm.
him more
100.
as like a specific powerlifting coach, right? Um, and I
Mm.
think it was like a little seminar workshopy thing that he ran down here, and he said he wants. I'm probably paraphrasing this wrong, but he said he wants it to be essentially like McDonald's in the sense that you go to McDonald's anywhere around Australia, you know what you're going to get. You know, like a lot
Mm.
of
Mm.
like if we went to a meet and we didn't know someone, we go, who coached them? If it was one of his lifters, we'd be like, that's one of his. You know what I mean? Like he's got his system, and it's very identifiable. He wants his lifters to move a certain way, and it's simple,
Mm.
and he gets wonderful results. So simple.
Yep.
Even like that, I just
I like. I
took
really
five
fucking
minutes to
like that
explain how
analogy you
simple
used.
works.
Yeah.
Like
But I like
mad
that analogy
paradox.
with the camera you used to explain. Like it, we. It is,
That's
man. It's one of those rabbit holes that you can just keep going down as well.
wait,
Hmm.
mate. I'm curious. Look, where did powerlifting start for you, bro? When did you first come across it?
Um, yeah, that was Sebastian for sure. Like I was doing
Yep.
so I did my diploma of fitness. As you're
Yep.
getting into the industry, everyone does their cert for or their diploma or whatever. So I did that, and then they were like, "Oh,
Mm.
it's an extra $500 to do massage," and I was like,
Yep.
I'll never use it, but sure, whatever. So I was doing
Yep.
that, and then when I actually had to do the face-to-face stuff, Bass was doing his as well, and I met him, and I was like, oh, meathead, sick, cool. And he was like really into like fight sports as well,
Yeah.
and at that time I was fighting
Yep.
still, so I was, we talk shit about like old school like fucking K1 kickboxing and fucking Pride and UFC and all that shit. So just started talking about that, followed each other on socials,
Yep.
massage course wrapped up, didn't see much of each other, and then I just saw on Facebook that he said he was looking for an intern. I was like, sweet, cool. I would like to get into like that commercial gym environment because back then like there were no powerlifting gyms. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it just wasn't a
Mm.
thing back in 2012. It wasn't a thing. So went in, started working for him. He's like, all right, cool. So I think in his mind he wanted me to kind of do his system of training but still fight.
Yep.
But then as soon as I
Yep.
started lifting weights, I was like, fuck, sweet. I fought at 62 kilos, right? Like I would kill myself to get to 62 kilos. Like I remember in
Fuck.
3 days I had 2 meals, which had no carbohydrates whatsoever or salt, and then for 2 whole days I had no water, like none. I was in and out of the sauna
Fuck.
for like I think that day I was in and out of the sauna for like 6.5, 7 hours. Right, like I cut from 77 to
Jesus.
62 in 3 days. It was fucking terrible, right? Um, but as soon as I started lifting weights and I started eating, like not even eating all right, but just eating a normal amount of food, I like put on weight so quick, and I was like, this is cool. And I started getting some attention from people
Yep.
around the gym and people on the socials. I was like, sweet, I'm gonna do this. So I just started doing that. Then after that, I competed at Jeff Lamb's gym back when he was running Capo up in Brizzy.
Yeah.
I bombed my deadlift,
Yeah.
and confession, I accidentally
Oh.
broke some shit in his gym accidentally. Whoops. Like I was heartbroken, man. Like I put so much into that meet. Like it meant so much to me, and I bombed on the deadlift. I was like, fuck. And I
Yeah.
was just sitting in the bathroom, and I just fucking I accidentally punched a fucking toilet roll holder. Anyway, sorry, Jeff, mad dog.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But
Jeff.
yeah, so I did that, bombed that meet, and then I was like, all right, I'll play the smart game, and I was conservative with my attempts thereafter. So yeah, that's where it started. It's basic, but like even under Bass, like at that point, he wasn't like I don't think he would have even now. I don't think he would identify as back then being a powerlifting coach. Like he coached a lot of powerlifters, but he worked with a lot of like MMA fighters. Worked with like, and again, coming from that Poliquin background, it's more of like strength coach or strength and conditioning coach, not really powerlifting coach. Like I think people need to realize there is a difference between the three. And so I went on like so many different programs. Like I did. Do either of you know who John Bros is? He's a weightlifting coach.
No, I haven't
He's
heard of him.
got Average Bros Gym. So he coached a dude back in the day, Pat Mendez. You probably saw like I guarantee you would have seen footage of him. He was like 18 years old, like this big dude, like not big and jacked, but like big and fat. And he was like high bar squatting 800 from reps. Like he was just super strong. And so
Fuck.
I remember his coach John Bros put this thing out, and it was like a modified Bulgarian system, how he would modify it for powerlifting. So I remember for like 3 months there, I'd max out every day, max out my front squat in the evening, max out my high bar in the
Fuck.
morning. It was mad, except for Sunday. You just max out one Sunday, just once. But no, it
That
got
actually
me
does
from
sound
like
pretty mad.
so my best front squat was like 100, and I looked like fucking Bambi. Like it was like disclaimer: no one do this. No one fucking do this unless you're like a weightlifter.
Yeah.
Don't do this. But my front squat was maybe like 100 or 110 or something. My back squat was maybe like 160. And after the 3 months, I squatted 220 high bar, and I front squatted 175. And my deadlift went from like 230 up to like 270 for 3. Like it worked. It worked good. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, dude, just everything. I wasn't getting heavier, but I was just eating everything. But like it got me really good at grinding. Like I can't grind now. Like my
Yeah.
change of mindset with programming now for the last 8 years has just been like submax, and then close to the meet you've got maybe like 4 or 5 sessions on each lift where you push it over like 12 weeks, but everything else is just submax. It's like if the bar speed diminishes that much, just stop, and that's how I program now. Like I don't let people grind through compound movements. Like if you want to grind, jump on a leg press, jump on it like a chest press, do some dumbbells. Like just the risk for injury is so much less. But back then I was just mad dominant twice a day. It was great.
Man, that just triggered like traumatic memories for me of grinding. I remember doing like 20 rep sets of squats because my coach programmed it at the time. It's like, I would never do that now. I will never fucking put myself in that vulnerable position under a fucking heavy loaded back squat. Like, I look back at that guy and was like, man, you were so lucky you had steroids in you to kind of recover. And I emphasize the kind of recover because I didn't recover.
I
But
don't
it's
know
like
if you sound
now that
smarter or
mindset
just
shift is like,
old.
nah, and yeah, it's the thing. It's like I don't know either because my joints hurt, so maybe
Exactly.
the gear actually offsets some of that. But
Dude, as you
so
get
it's
older, you
like,
gotta just
but
back off.
now everything. Which one, the training or the gear?
Just the training. Just
Or
just back
both?
that off.
Yeah.
Just the training.
um.
Bulgarian method and 20 rep sessions. You probably still had a lot of fun when you were doing them, even though in hindsight it was fucking silly.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
It is
it's
what
like
it
I
is.
was an idiot, but I had a lot of fun. Yeah,
But it's
I
like
remember
pizza for
like double
breakfast.
shotting pre-workout with a V. Did you say pingers for breakfast?
No, I said pizza. Just
Oh,
like,
you said pingers
just
for breakfast.
well, yeah, like take that too. Like drawing likeness to doing something that's fun that you want to do versus something that's good for
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
quote unquote. You know, like some,
yeah. Okay,
I- you
right.
know, sometimes doing what's best is not the fun thing. You know, like you do have to balance it so people actually
No,
want to go to the gym. Like if you give someone fucking Zercher squats, 4 sessions a week and nothing that they enjoy doing,
yeah.
they ain't gonna stay. You know, I mean, a few of my clients did, but
Mm.
for the most part, you still need to enjoy your training. You know, but no, it was
Do you
good.
find
Like,
that on that? Sorry, do you find that on that topic of like giving people what they want? Do you believe though, with the clients that do come in and really like they say to you, Luke, like I want to be the best there is. Do you find they're able to handle that monotonous training a lot better? You're able to just not give them that fun shit and then just go do this and you'll be the best ever, and they do it.
yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, look at Lana for example. I give her exercises that
Mm,
she thinks are too light that she doesn't enjoy doing, but she'll always do them. You know, like day in day out, she'll always do it. She'll
mm,
always eat close enough to what she needs to, but it's one of those things. A lot of people just won't do it. But again, like Johnny, what you said
mm,
before about how you asked if we enjoy doing the hard work. Even exercises that I hated, like front squatting. I hated front squatting, but I still did it because I thought it'd be the best. But that
mm,
was back when training was my outlet, and training's not my outlet anymore. You know what I mean? Like now,
mm,
I like doing supervised hours in the gym where my team will come and train. Like I've just got like a little studio a couple blocks from where I'm living in the city, and 2-3 times a week we'll try and get the team together and they just train. And for me, I'll make sure I get my training done beforehand, and then when they're there, I just sit there and cue them and talk shit, and we all have a laugh. You know what I mean? And I had a client yesterday call me.
mm,
Lives kind of regional, and he's gone out on his own to do like a painting business, right? And he called me. He's like, bro, like meant like he called me a month ago. He's like, dude, I can't fit this training. I was like, sweet, you're not going to prep. I'm just going to give you 3 sessions a week to get by, right? And then he called me yesterday. He's like, dude, mentally I'm struggling. Like I'm barely keeping my head above water. Like I'm, like this whole "Are you okay?" day. Like so many people ask, "Are you okay?" but no one actually does anything or helps anyone with anything actionable to make their mental health better.
mm,
That's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down. But I said to him, I
mm,
was like, bro, if you're just getting like I deliberately changed his program so he can get his sessions done in 30 to 45 minutes, right? Because I want him to just stay competent, because at a certain point his work will back off and I want him to have
mm,
not regressed that much, right? So they're practical sessions, but they're not fun. You get a good pump, you get like good endorphins and shit afterwards, but it's not fun. And with his schedule, he can't train with his friends. So I was like, all right, dude, I'm happy to take out a fourth session out of your program because you said that you used to game with a mate on Friday. And I literally, as his powerlifting coach, I said to him, miss a session, go game with your friend. You know what I mean? Because for him, that's an outlet.
mm.
If you're training with your friends and the training environment is
Yep.
sick, well, then it's not a chore. Grinding through sets is fine because A, you're getting better, and B, as soon as you're done, you're just going to go talk shit for 10 minutes. Like, as powerlifters, that's what we do. Like, no one adheres to a strict 3 or 4 minute rest period.
Mm.
It's like you do your set, you grind hard, everyone gets around you, then you go talk shit until someone else has a set. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to realize as well for people, if training is their outlet, they'll put up with the shit that they don't like doing in the gym because that's still their outlet at the gym. Whereas
Mm.
people, like especially corporate people or people that are pressed for time, they need to have more enjoyable stuff in their program, or else it's not going to be their outlet at all, and they're just going to fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's life. Like at the end of the day, we're powerlifting coaches, but anything where you interact with people, like we have to be the program, we have to do the marketing, we have to do the communications, we have to be the fucking HR manager. Like we need to do all the things to keep people happy, as well as just the normal things that we know we need to do as far as like technique stuff and programming and stuff like that. Like we have to actually be that. We have to be there for our clients, you know.
Hmm.
100%. But I think, and do you find that challenging with being more of an online coach now to be there for your clients? Missing out on that face-to-face time. Is there something you do differently to try and keep that up to scratch rather than just with typing stuff away to you guys?
I mean, it takes more time out of my day to reply to people. But I've been toying with the idea. Like I see Will and Mickey and Zach and everyone at Nexus, they're posting lots of stuff where they've got like group calls, like big group Zoom calls and stuff like that. And that's something that's definitely on my list of try and work out a way to do it. But it's just hard to get everyone together. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about just setting up like a online based booking system where people can just, I'll just share my availability with people and they can just book themselves in for a 15-minute call, something like that. Like I did an anonymous survey with all my team, like all the clients that I coach and that my coach under me coaches as well, Alex. And the number one thing they said is they just wish they had more time to talk to us. And I was like, all right, cool. But then, if you look at giving 15 minutes to, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 people down the track, it's works out to be a lot of time, which I'm not saying I don't want to do it, but you get to a point where you just can't, I would like to do more, but I still think I'm able to be there for my clients. Like I've capped my books. I'm not taking anyone else on, until I have someone drop off. And that's just to make sure that I've still got enough time to, message everyone and call them if they ask. But honestly, like I said before, if I could have 50% of people in the same gym as me training, that's what you want,
Yeah, 100%. And I think I had a question off the back of that around, do you think as coaches, and as I pose this question to both of you, as Luke, you said before, we are the HR department, we are the marketers, we are the accountants, we're everything. Do you find as a profession we're undervalued?
Yeah. Not undervalued. Like I think it depends who we're talking about, right? So if we're looking at random people that follow us on social media and love our content but never sign up as coaches, as clients, probably because they don't know what we do. I think a lot of my clients appreciate what I do, especially because rewind like 3 years ago, I was
100%.
not on the ball like I am now. Like I'm not saying I'm perfect now, but I look back at how I ran my online coaching business. I'm not even going to call it that. Like I coached people online, but I wasn't an online coach. Like I was just spreading myself way too thin. And all those clients who were there then, who I've still got now, they value everything that I do. Like I get gratitude messages all the time, and it is nice to get those messages from clients because
Yeah.
it's nice to get that recognition. But I think a lot of people do still see us as like they see us as something different, and I think a lot of people do devalue the whole strength coach kind of industry.
Yeah. I think you make a good point and put wrap context around it, and I agree. Like, people who know what we do and who sign up, they value and appreciate what we do exactly. But from people outside looking in, I think there is still a big misconception that we don't do much. And I think it definitely becomes an onus on us coaches to really showcase that. Now, I forgot my other next question again. Fuck. Oh, okay. No, here it is. As an online coach, or as a coach in general, I see a massive, and it could just be the circle, the pond I'm looking at. But there's a lot of people wanting to do less for more. Like they want to work less but make more money. And I'm like, why don't you just do more and have more time and more money later?
Are you talking about?
I think
Are you
people are
talking
genuinely.
about? Sorry, finish.
Sorry?
Continue. No, you go first.
Oh no, I was saying you to continue.
Oh yeah, sweet. I think what was I saying? I think it depends if we're talking about people wanting to get out of trading time for money versus because that's one thing that honestly, if you are just trading time for money, you get to a certain point where you need to you need to find a way to charge more. And if you're trading time for money, you can't do that. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of the time with online coaches,
Yeah.
I do see that. I think one thing that a lot of coaches who have succumbed to that idea of like a lot of business coaches and a lot of business mentors and stuff like that, they're really big on the whole charge your worth, right? And I agree, charge your worth, but don't charge $85 an hour for a shit service. You know what I mean? Don't charge $120 for a PT session for your lackey coach who you've hired who really has no experience in the thing. Like, yeah, she can pump out a bunch of good content, but she really doesn't have much real world experience. Like that's not charging your worth. That's charging more than your worth, right? Like I'm all about charging your worth.
Yeah.
But even with that, you'll get to a point where you, like online coaching, we're still trading time for money. It's not dollars per minute, but I did a breakdown for one of my posts a while ago, and I said, okay, so I spend this many hours per week on messaging. I spend this many hours per week on programming. Like, you get to a point where you take more people on, it's still more time, right? It's still better than the face-to-face option as, like, if we're looking at doing one thing as a whole. But I think the biggest way we can go about getting more money is, as coaches, either, like, obviously, number one, have a good service. Have a good service where people feel like they're getting their money's worth, but they also feel like the effort is appreciated. And then number two, charging your worth, not more, not less. Like, you know, we used to see coaches charging $25 a week for personalized programming. It's like, dude, that sucks. Like, you'll never make any money doing that. You know, but at the same time, charging $100 a week for programming it's a little steep, right? And some people can justify it. A lot of people can't justify it. But then beyond that, I think we can look at having coaches that work under us. You know what I mean? Like your brand Epic you've got how many coaches you got under you? Like you've got a few coaches working. Yeah. And like, so there's that, which that's not working less. It's just working differently. Like you're now, like, I'm sure you found working in that role, you find you have to work more on your business than in your business, and delegating tasks and making sure certain things get done and helping the community of coaches. Like you've got your team community, but you've also going to have a certain like coach community as well. So 3 would be getting coaches to work under us.
I agree.
And then 4, I
think it's a big misconception because people want to.
Yeah, continue.
Yes, 100%. And I think it's just people want to, this, as you said, trade less time for money, but at the same time, it's like, what else are you going to fill your day with? There's going to be new responsibilities. Any change you make, there's going to be a reaction and something you're going to have to invest in. And I think I struggle with the whole, and I've always struggled with, you know, the charge what you're worth, knowing what you're worth. And I'll happily call out someone. I'm like, you're not worth $150 an hour. Like, what the fuck? Also, we're coaches. Like, let's set that precedence first. Like, we're coaches first. We're not therapists. We're not surgeons. We're not anything like that. Like, charging, it also comes back down to, like, obviously where you're based. Know your clientele, the people surrounding you. Can your clientele afford $150 per session? Did you just charge yourself out of the market? Like, you could be a great coach, but if people can't afford you, they're not going to come to you.
Or they might come to you, but they won't stay. It'll be a, you know, I'll stay with them until I squat 300 or until I do this. You know what I mean? But if you've got a reasonable rate, like you said, like people will stay. They'll be less hesitant to sign up, and they will stay. But again, on the flip side, you've got to make sure that you're charging enough so you don't spread yourself too thin doing heaps of other things. You know, but then like going off of the back of that, like having multiple revenue streams is good. Like being able to do one-on-one sessions, like despite that not being your main income source, if you can then charge, you know, between $85 and $120 an hour, like that's a pretty big range. But, you know, depending on, like you said, on the demographic, on your knowledge, your competency, blah, 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 on the community, being able to do some PT, being able to sell apparel, being able to, you know, like I'm probably going to look at signing on with an app-based product where I can have a much cheaper option where it's just programming. They don't get check-ins, they don't get video responses. It's just programming, because then people can still be a part of the team, but it's that, you know, it's just that budget option, you know. But yeah, I don't think work less, make more is correct at all. but I'm not against the notion of it when it comes to people trying to get out of that face to face trading dollars for minutes. But again, like it's not working less; it's working different. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah. I
Fucking
mean,
oath you did.
I got lucky with that because well, I didn't get lucky. Like I had a relationship breakdown the year before, and then I seemed to have this thing where like I'd meet and connect with someone from a different state, and I'd just go to that state for a month, see how it goes. And if it didn't work, I'd just go to a different state and blah, blah,
Mm.
blah. So I was kind of already, like, I'd already shifted. And actually, rewinding before that relationship breakdown, I was in Sydney and I had clients that wanted to work with me. So I started programming them all face to face back in 2015. Then I moved to Adelaide and then they stayed on. And then I built like a bit of a name down here. And I got some clients here. And then 2019 had the split up, went back to Sydney. You know, I was kind of transient between different states, but that's when like I was already setting up that system that worked well with COVID happening. You know, if I was just
Mm.
like if I just had my
Yep.
Adelaide base from when I was living here between 2015 and 2019, dude, I would have been smashed. But I was lucky. You know what I mean? Like I didn't manage to save any money, but at the same time, still had a roof over my head. I still had an income. Like I still had cash flow coming in reasonably well. You know, my business was in a really good place when COVID first started, and I had probably 40 to 60% drop off, which sucked. But I had already gotten out of that trading time for money, so that was really positive. But I think COVID fucked a lot of
Mm.
people, and I think a lot of people agree with that. And to be honest, I think COVID's still fucking a lot of people. Like Sydney and Vic, Victoria's still pretty fucked up. Like they just started to get out of their restrictions. What, like a month ago? Sydney, they got out of it probably like 2 months ago. But
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen in the future? You know?
And that's the fucking oath we did, but I think it's also a good lesson if people look back on it. Is like, as you said, Johnny, and probably Luke. I know you said you fumbled it along the way, but having that foresight and thinking about how can I evolve and how can I update and deliver a better quality service is vital, and you need to constantly be rechecking that because otherwise, Johnny, you said we get our pants pulled down, and next minute we're like, fuck.
Mm.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's on you, and I think a lot of people, and I think we talk about this from experience sitting here, but it's also something that never gets taught in the industry. Like I don't know if you guys, but I remember we had some for 1 hour out of the fucking weekends that I did doing my Cert 3 and 4. There was one lady that came in from ANZ to talk about business. Like you know, coaches go into this idea of they're gonna quickly make some money, but it's like you also got to run a business, bro.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. But even more simply than that, right? Like they don't teach us this good shit from the start, right? Like, all right, everyone's going to laugh at me for this,
Yeah,
but no one told me I had to do a tax return. So I'm paying off like a
bro,
six
same.
six year
Yeah.
tax bill. You know what I mean? Like for a while there, I had a job that paid an income, and I knew that they pay tax. Like I'm not that dumb. I knew I had to pay tax, but
Mm.
I didn't know I had to do a return. And I started working for myself, and I was like, hang on, I've got all this accrued
Mm.
stuff that I've got to get back to them. Even like in high school, they tell you got to study hard, study, but they don't give you any strategies to study. Like one of the girls that gets coached by Alex, I was talking to her. She's
Mm.
going through second year physio, right? And she's just stressed. Like she
Mm.
legit almost had like a breakdown, right? Like she came into the gym to help film some, like client content videos. I was like, "What's up?" And she had like a full breakdown. I was like, "You need to like structure your study." Like this is one thing that I love about podcasts, right? Like
Mm.
people just talking about their routines and habits, and simple shit like allocating 45 minutes or 90 minutes to a task, and then you move on to something else. You know what I mean? Like they don't teach you simple things. Like at school, they don't teach you to study. In PT course, they teach you that you need to make
Mm.
money. Like that's how they teach business. They don't teach anything about marketing, about actually how to interact with a client. Like I remember when I started with Bass, I probably would have had like between 5 and 10 clients who are like corporate lawyers on over 200K a year. And I'm like 18 and I don't know shit about life. And then, you're trying to make conversation with them. You're like, what do I talk about here? You know what I mean? One of them brought me a Christmas gift,
Yeah.
and it was like a $300 bottle of whiskey. I was like, is this any good? I went home and Googled it. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, we are not the same. Like they are a different breed, and they do not teach you to deal with these people at Cert 4, They teach you how to do shit on a Fitball and say that you need to make money to run a business. They don't teach you anything,
Fucking oath, bro. Like,
But
literally,
now,
exercise ball
but
was
now,
king. You stand on a Bosu ball for stability.
yeah. But now we've got the flip side of that, where we've got every person who's made I'm not even going to call it successful coaching business. I'm going to say semi-successful at best. We've got so many fucking people that have got a semi-successful coaching business that's been afloat for maybe 2 or 3 years. Like, I'm sorry, you've not proven shit. 2 or 3 years means nothing. If you stuck it out for 10 years and you've been profiting for at least half of that, you're in a good spot, right? But we've got these people who are like, barely in their 20s who have run a barely profitable business for 2 years, and they're like, hit me up for business coaching. It's like, bro, what? Like, can you not pick up any more clients? So you need to, you think you need to work with trainers? Like we see it all the fucking time, even with powerlifting coaching. Like, there's a small handful of people that do it well, right? Bass does it well. I don't know what Thomas Lilly teaches, but I imagine he'd do it well. I sent 3 or 4 people who wanted to get into powerlifting stuff to Will, just for they've got like a mentorship. There are people that do it well, and then there are people who have no business doing it. Like, put your nose in your own business and get that working for a good 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, stop charging $400 an hour for PT because you think you're worth it, and then you wonder why you're not getting clients, and then going and telling other people to charge their worth when you don't know what their worth is, let alone them. You know what I mean? Like, I try and keep shit positive, but fuck.
Oh, it's fucking crazy, man. Like, nah, bro, I'm the same. Like, people, I've had a lot of students follow me around, and their first question is like, oh, when did you get into online coaching and all this shit? It's like, man, just go get some clients. Go work in a gym or something. Like, bro, I've been doing this for fucking 11 years now. Don't fucking start. Just go work in a gym. Go know what it's like to fucking handle clients and learn the craft. Don't even fucking worry about your online and your Instagram, because you're still shit anyway.
Learn how to talk to people. Yeah. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to make a queue work. Like, simple shit. And like we said before, this shit that we could do in 5 minutes face to face might take us 3 or 4 weeks in online. And that's with us still knowing how to do things. Like you said, like, just go to a gym, work with some people, make them like you. Like, if you're not likable, your business ain't even gonna do shit. Like, I'm not that likable, but like, some people like me. Not a lot of people, but some. And then you get referrals. You know what I mean? Like, people that dude, I've got a whole federation of people who hate me, and I have no idea why. I don't even know their names, but they hate me. It is what it is.
I feel like I need to get on this level, because I feel like, Jonny, you got kicked out of APL years ago. I need to fucking do something to a federation to piss it off. I feel really like I'm out of the loop here.
Just roast the reffing.
Oh, like, no, to be fair, I'm not really liked by Pro Raw. Come on.
Oh, really?
Me and Marcos have yelled at each other enough.
Yeah, mad.
Oh, bro. That's a story for off the podcast, so we can tell you, 4 or 5 times. I nearly got kicked out of GPC Nationals in 2017.
Did ya?
Yes, strong conversations. Yeah. It was just like when
productive conversations.
It was the first one. Was that the what? Oh, look, the 2017 one, I take full ownership. I was on Trent at the time, and I was just like not having a bar of how the shitty Nationals was, and Ryan Williams, God bless his cotton socks, going for the magical ton, and of course Marcos wanted it at his competition as a 125 lifter, and he just fucked up the whole lifting order because of it, and put one of my lifters in a bad position, and I was like, fuck this, And unfortunately, the trend got the better of me that day. So if you're listening, Marcos, I do apologise. Oh man, fucking yeah. I mean, but yeah, also the trend. So if anyone takes anything away from this podcast, don't take trend. Or just do it
Or
smarter than I did.
yeah, yeah, trend based, less long term side effects, right?
Yes,
In and
yes.
out, in and out. The next morning you're chill.
Mm,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, fuck.
What lifting? Oh, I tried. I got humbled quite quickly, but I gave it a red hot crack for a couple months. It was good. It's good fun. Good to do something different. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
I feel like if I had just done it 10 years earlier, it would have been a lot easier. Like, there are certain things that I feel like I was reasonably decent at. Like, I could pull nicely, I could get good hip contact, my timing wasn't terrible. But, dude, I couldn't front rack to save myself. Like, benching 300 in gear and front racking 160 and, catching a clean, they don't go together. Like, they're not the same fucking thing. But no, to be fair, I went into it. I told my coach at the time, Carl Bruce in Sydney, Uplift Gym. I told him, I was like, bro, I just want to clean 220. I was like, how hard is that? I just want to clean 220. He's like, bro. I was like, whatever. And then he's like, all right. So before we start, send me some footage. So I did some clean and jerks. I did some clean and push presses with a weird sloppy slide with my feet. And then he's like, do some snatches. I was like, I don't want to snatch. He's like, no, just snatch. I was like, all right. Fell over on my ass like with 50 kilos like 10 times. I was like, oh, this is shit, right? But then towards the end of it, I found snatching way easier. Like, believe it or not, like catching a snatch was no problem, no pain. Like, I got a bit of hip impingement, but that's, that's just powerlifting, right? But the cleaning destroyed my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, terrible. It was mad fun, but, it was mad fun. And honestly, I think
right.
I think it's a really good skill. So if people want to try it, definitely give it a crack. But get a coach. Get a fucking coach. Like, don't be stingy. Get a coach. Pay for a coach. If you can afford it. If you can't, YouTube works. Take it slow. And just remember that your powerlifting strength doesn't mean shit. Like, as soon as you're put in a different position, that 300 squat goes down real quick. You know what I mean? Like, real quick.
Fucking oath
no,
it does.
And even just like, another thing, strength and conditioning coaches, like legitimate strength and conditioning coaches that work with like footy players and blah, blah, blah. There are better movements to work in the off season than weightlifting. Like, if you look at how long it takes to actually become proficient at that before you can load it, it's a long fucking time. Like, if you're working with kids and they pick it up pretty quickly and you're going to work with them for a couple of years, no worries, invest the time. But and PTs at fucking like Good Life or a Fitness First or an Anytime or whatever, weightlifting's not going to help your clients unless they want to do weightlifting or CrossFit, right? But like, far too often we see people trying to do like some bastardized version of like a fucking power clean because they think it's good for force output when they could just learn to jump and learn to deadlift, like real basic.
It's also
Exactly.
like, sorry, just real quickly, if you're in a Good Life or a Fitness First, it's like, your client probably wants to lose weight.
Yeah.
There is so many safer, less risky ways for to create that result than getting them to put a fucking barbell over their head when they have no right to.
Yeah.
Fucking
But
dumb
they teach it in the
cunts.
Cert 4. Like, I remember my Cert 4, they did a 2-day
What?
thing on weightlifting. I'm like, what? Why are we doing this? And then we all tried it and we all had really
Bro, they didn't even
sore
teach me how to
wrists.
squat in my Cert 4.
Oh, really? No, that's good. They didn't teach me either. They taught us like drop sets on a leg press and like ISO holds on a leg extension, like all
Yeah, that's mad.
these really cool hardcore techniques. Yeah, nah, not a fan.
They fucking taught me the Tom Platz fucking 20 rep bloody hack squat. Give me
Did you do
that.
21s?
That Dorian
You know, like
Yates pull up, baby. Bro, 21s is where I lived, bro. I did 21s on my bicep, I did 21s on my calves, and still didn't grow. So the problem was I wasn't doing 22s. Nah,
You just
fucking
need to do
hell.
some like occlusion training,
But
like at a
man,
band or something.
oh fuck, can't even imagine. Ugh. That was actually, I think that was actually taught. We were taught like put cuffs around something, and I'm like, I mean, at the time I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get the fucking 21-inch biceps and look like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Turns out I didn't. Go figure.
Yeah,
But
bugger.
whatever. Not hating. But man, before we wrap up, we've got 10 very random questions to get an insight of who the real Luke Shakespeare is. They are rapid
Trent, right?
fire.
Yep.
First thing that comes to your mind. Oh fuck yes! We're already on there. I love this already. All right, Johnny,
Here we go.
shoot.
You are given the opportunity to rename the apple in which you eat. Are you going to change the name of the apple to?
Pineapple.
Excellent. Does
I don't know.
chocolate belong in the fridge?
No.
Well,
Nope.
what do you wish you spent more time doing?
Fighting. 100% fighting. Yeah. Yeah. I was meant to be on the Ultimate Fighter. Like I legit got it.
Oh,
Like
that'd
I
be
did the
dope.
tryouts and I went and everything, and then they were like, "Look, you don't have a winning professional record of more than 3 wins." I was like, "They're like, would have you?" I was like, "Oh, cool." Anyway, yeah, defeats the purpose of rapid fire questioning. Continue.
What can you do today that you couldn't do 5 years ago?
I can crack my back while taking a shit. Like I literally just push and it cracks.
What activity do you lose time of doing?
Geeking out on camera videos on YouTube.
That was fucking hilarious.
Luke, you're checking yourself into your hotel room, nice hotel, you're staying there for the night. When you open the door, unfortunately, you find a dead body. What are you going to do next?
Put my bags down. It's just so I don't have to carry them all the way back downstairs.
What is your most hated mode of transport?
Buses. Yep, cannot stand buses.
What colour is a mirror?
Silver? Is that a colour?
I'll take silver. Well played.
Silver.
What superpower do you not want to have?
Being able to crack my back while I take a shit. Like if I could not have that, that'd be good.
Is it loud? Real loud?
It's audible from another room.
Now this is a very good follow-up question to this, and this just happens in question 10. Do you like to fold the toilet paper or scrunch the toilet paper?
Fold, 100%. We gotta have order in the world. We've got to fold.
Fold. Absolutely. And this will be question 11. Do you believe in the ghost wipe?
The ghost wipe,
Yes.
where you wipe and there's nothing there.
Yeah, it means you wipe without checking.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Oh no, you're
So
definitely
you just
not.
no, no.
Definitely not.
Oh, sorry. I changed my answer as well. What? You always got to check.
Sometimes you'll just live a little. Swing it. Just hope.
You're a busy man. Don't even have time to check.
Yeah. Mate, that was an absolute hoot of the 10 questions. Before we wrap up, let's do the social media shout out thing. Give yourself a shout out. Where can people find you?
Website is strengthunlimited.net and Instagram is just strengthunlimited with underscore at the bottom. But if it's Strength Unlimited, it'll pop up.
Legend,
Yep.
brother.
Happy days.
Man, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been an absolute fucking good time, some great chats. This will go up in probably about a week or two, and I can't wait for the people to listen to it, especially the 10 questions, because I'm still laughing about that.
Killer. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's always good to get the voice out.
Yeah.
Legend.
Absolutely, brother. We'll have to get you on for a round two sometime. But, mate, thanks so much, and we'll speak to you soon.
All right. See you later.